Hello everyone, this is Coach Wang. Today we are going to review the game played by丁立人and Depo in the FIDE World Championships. Okay, so white choose to play c4. So this variation, this opening, it is English opening. In the candidates games, Ding Liren has already used this variation to play against Depo, and in that games, Ding Liren lost the game. So it is very brave for Ding Liren to choose this variation again, right? And Nepo plays knight f6, knight c3, and e5. Okay, and knight f3, knight c6. Okay, so we just meet the 4-knight variation in the English opening, and white choose to play e3. Instead of e3, another choice for white here is to play g3 and then move the bishop to g2. It is also a choice. So e3, it is a move that white move the bishop to e2 and then plan to push d4 to occupy the center. And black chose to play bishop b4, move all the pieces, and try to attack the bishop, attack the knight here. Okay, white chose to play queen c2. Use the queen to try to protect the bishop, and besides, maybe white will have a chance to push e4 with the support of the queen here. Okay, and then bishop takes, pawn takes. It is also a good idea for white to use queen to take. This move can avoid the double pawn at the c file, but after e4, we can see that it seems to be a little bit hard for white's knight to find a very good square, such as knight d4, and after that, white will meet the trouble with the d file, the backward pawn here. Right. Okay, so pawn takes and d6, e4, short castle, bishop e2. Okay, and Nepo chose to play knight h5 here. This is a very aggressive move. Plan to play knight f4 to attack the g2 pawn and attack the king side. So we have already know that if we can put the knight on f4 or maybe f5, so we will put so much pressure at the king side. Okay, so white chose to play d4. This move firstly push the pawn to occupy the center, secondly clear a path for the bishop, so we can open this diagonal here, right? And then black chose to play knight f4. Actually, this is Nepo's style, so Nepo usually likes the complex position here. So knight f4, it will make the position complex. Okay, a bishop takes, right? Pawn takes, and short castle. Black chose to play queen f6. Okay, queen f6, this is a move to protect the f4 pawn, and secondly, can move out the pieces such as rook e8, bishop g4, something like that. Right. Okay, and white chose to play rook fe1. And Nepo, in this position, Nepo chose to play rook e8. Another choice here may be this g5 move. I would like that, and it is more like to the Nepo's style. g5 and then plan to push g4 and try to attack the king side. This move, it is also a plan here, because we can see that this position, it is a little bit closed, so it is okay for the side with the space advantage to try to push the pawns and attack the king here, right? And white will try to play h3 maybe. This position, it is still equal here, right? Okay, rook e8, and white chose to play bishop d3. Okay, this move, it is very aggressive, with the threat to push e5 and open the diagonal to try to attack the h7 pawn. This is the idea of this move here. And black chose to play bishop g4. This move, it is also very aggressive. Plan to take the knight here and try to make some trouble. So in this position, it is not a good idea for white to continue to play e5, because if black chooses to take it, bishop h7 and king h8, actually it doesn't work here, right? It doesn't make any trouble for black. So Ding Liren chose to play knight d2, move the knight back to d2 and try to find some other chance to make some attack, right? And Nepo chose to play knight a5. Okay, put knight on a5, and the plan here is try to push c5 so that black can try to fix the white's double pawn at the c file. So we have already learned during the class is that if we want to attack your opponent's weakness, firstly we need to fix it. We don't let it go to some other squares, right? And next, the plan here is that we try to use the pieces as just the position of the pieces and try to attack the weakness. So this knight a5, it means that black will have a chance to push c5 and then fix the double pawn at the c file. Right. And now it is a very good move for Ding Liren here, c5. This is a very good move here because Ding Liren has already know the plan for Nepal. So c5, this is a very aggressive move. Usually it means that white will sacrifice a pawn here, but actually white can create very dangerous pawns at the center. Right. Okay. So pawn takes, it is necessary, and e5. Okay. Open the diagonal and with the threaten to attack the queen. Besides, we can also attack the h7 pawn. And queen h6, it seems to be the only move for black to protect the h7 pawn and move the queen to some other squares. And now white chose to play d5. Okay, so we can see that in this position, although white has already sacrificed a pawn, but we can see that white has a very strong paired pawns at the center, right? And they are well protected by the move of c4 or something like that. So although black has a pawn's advantage, but white is very active in this position. And black chose to play rook d8 to try to attack the d5 pawn, and c4 to protect it, and b6. This move, it is a plan for Nepal to play knight b7 and then move the knight to some squares. So we can see that the knight on a5, it is useless. So we need to adjust the position of this knight here. Okay, and white chose to play h3, attack the bishop h5, and bishop e4. So we can say that although white has very strong paired pawns at the center, but it seems to be a little bit hard for white to push the pawns. So bishop e4, it is a move that try to set a trap here, right? Besides, we can also prevent black from playing knight b7 because knight b7 will meet the trouble with d6, something like that. So the black knight will meet a very dangerous position here, right? Okay, so bishop e4, this move works. Besides, we can also have some chance such as queen c3 and plan to play knight e4. We also adjust the position of the knight here. It is also a good plan for white. So bishop e4, and Nepal chose to play rook e7. Obviously, we cannot choose to play rook e5 here because we'll meet the discovered attack bishop h7. Queen takes, king takes, and rook e5. White will have an easily winning position. Okay, so rook e7. And now white chose to play queen c3. Okay, protect the e5 pawn and try to make some trouble. And black chose to play rook d8. Okay, bishop f3. Firstly, try to exchange the bishop, and secondly, after the exchange, white can put the knight on f3 to protect the e5 pawn here. Okay, so black chose to play knight b7 here. Okay, so because black has already moved the rook to the 7th line, so black doesn't need to worry about the d6, the discovered attack, because black after pawn takes d6, black can use the rook to protect the knight here. Okay, so white chose to play rook e2. So we can see that it is a good idea for us to double the rook at the files that it might be open here. Right, rook e2, so maybe the e file, it has some chance to open, so white will double the rook at this file. And black chose to play f6. This is a very good move here, f6. Although this move can help white to create a protected passed pawn, but actually black will decrease the pressure here because the d5 pawn, the e5 pawn, these paired pawns, they will control so many squares and make some pressure for black. Maybe in the future, white will have some chance to push one of them and create a passed pawn. So f6, this move, it is a very good idea. Because of the pin through the e file, so white cannot choose to take it, right? And it is necessary for white choose to play e6. Okay, so we can see that in this position, although white has a protected passed pawn, but black has already doubled the rook at the e file, so white cannot push the pawns anymore, right? And after knight d6, okay, we can see that in this position, although white has a very good pawn here, but if white want to push the pawn, white needs to try to attack the rook here. Right, so we need to find the squares that can help white to do that. If we can put the knight on c6 and the knight on f5, it can help us to do that. But actually, it seems to be impossible because black knight sits at the d6 square, so it can control the f5 square, and it is impossible for white knight to move to the c6. Right? We don't have any entry point here. So this position it is equal here. And rook a e1, knight f5. Okay, bishop h5, queen takes, and rook e4. Move the rook to try to attack the f6 pawn, f4 pawn here, and queen h6, queen f3. Okay, and now in this position, therefore just make a big blunder here, right? Knight d4. Actually, I don't know why never play this kind of moves here because it is a huge blunder. In my opinion, Neville needs to play g5 to protect the f4 pawn, so this position it is still equal. And next, the black's plan is that black just move the knight back to d6 and control the f5 square. So as the analyzation we have already done, white doesn't have any entry point, any square for the knight to attack the e7 rook, so white cannot push any of the pawns. So this position is an equal position. Right. But after knight d4, okay, so due to the things we have already learned during the class, every pieces have its worth. Right. So in this position, it is we can see that it is a very closed position, and we don't have any of open files. For black, we can see that black has two semi-open files, the D file and the E file, but both of these two files, it seems to be impossible to open these two files. Right. Okay. So in these positions here, the worth of the rook, it is maybe it will be less than the knight. Right. So it is a very good idea for white to use the positional sacrifice here. Rook takes d4. Very good move here. It is a fantastic move. Rook takes d4 because as the analyzation, we can see that the worth of the rook in this position maybe it will be less than the knight. So it is a good idea for white to sacrifice the rook here. And after that, pawn takes d4 and the knight b3. Okay, so in this position, white is clearly winning because we have already analyzed that in the previous position, white doesn't have the entry point to attack the rook here. But after knight b3 and after knight takes d4, we can put the knight on c6 and f5 to attack the e7 rook. So we will have an easily winning position because we have already created the entry point. Right. It is not a good idea for black to play c5 here because black will meet the trouble with d6. Right. Maybe this is something Nepal just missed. Rook takes and rook takes. Right. Rook takes and queen a8 check. So king f7 it is the only move and white has d7. So we can see that black doesn't have any moves to prevent white from getting the promotion here. So white will have a clearly winning position. So maybe c5 and d6, this is a move that Nepal missed. It is, I guess it is, right? Okay. And now black chose to play g5, and this position after knight d4, this position it is hopeless for white. Hopeless for black. Right. Queen g6 and g4. This move it is very good. g4 and we support the knight to move to the f5 square. Firstly, it can block the queen, and secondly, it can attack the rook on e7. Besides, we can also choose to play knight c6. I think this move it also works, and plan to play queen a3 to continue to put more pressure at the rook. Besides, we can also try to attack the a7 pawn. White will also have a winning position here. Okay, so g4 and pawn takes, h5 and knight f5. Okay, so we can see that although black has some piece advantage, material advantage at this position, but white's pieces they are very strong, very active. So the knight here it just block all the pieces here. It can lock all the black's pieces here. Firstly, it blocks the diagonal of the queen. Secondly, it can lock the two rooks here. Right? None of these rooks can try to make any contribution to the position. So obviously, white will have a winning position here. Okay, rook h7 and queen e4. Okay, with the threat to play knight e7 and has a discover attack. right? So black chose to play king h8 to avoid it, and e7. Okay, so we can see that white just pushed the passed pawn with the support of all the pieces, and besides white will also do the things like maybe queen e6, queen d7, something like that, and then try to make more attack. Black, in this position, it seems that black just meet a zigzagging position here. None of the black pieces can move here, right? Can make any contribution to the position. So black chose to play queen f7 and then d6. Okay, take, and then knight takes. Okay, so white just have a winning position because rook queen e7 it doesn't work because knight e6, knight e8, right? Rook e7 it also doesn't work because knight f7 with check. So white just win the game here. And black chose to play queen g8. This move it is useless, and take queen e6 with a threaten to take f6 pawn and king g7, right? Rook f1 attacks the pawn again, rook h6 and then rook d1. Okay, with a threaten to play rook d8 and can try to get the promotion here. And black chose to play f5, try to use the discover attack, but actually it is useless. Queen e5 check, king f7, queen f5 check. Black cannot choose to take the pawn because rook e1 check, right? Okay, so black chose to play rook f6 and queen h7, king e6, queen g7. It is a silence move here. Prepare to play rook e1 check and win the rook. And black chose to play rook g8, rook g6, and queen f8. Okay, white just win the game because black cannot prevent white from getting the promotion here, such as maybe rook g8 and then we have rook d8. Okay, so white just wins. Okay, so in this position we can learn the skill of positional sacrifice. In the closed positions, if the rook it doesn't have open file or semi-open files, so it will make no contribution to this position. And besides, because white has a space advantage in this position, so it is a good idea for white to create some entry point and try to make some trouble for black here, right? So it is a very good move for white to find this rook d4 move. We just sacrifice the rook, use the positional sacrifice, and firstly, we can lock your opponent's pieces. Secondly, we can create an entry point for the knight to attack the pieces here. So white just win the game. Okay, so sometimes we need to know more about the worth of the pieces, right? In some of the positions, knight it is even better than the rook, such as this one. Okay, that's the review of this game.